Good morning, good morning, everybody. We are live here, locked in. Me looking like, I don't know, a sloth, a turtle. Can we get the stream focused in? There we go. Awesome. Welcome to the pre-market prep session for the last day in May. Absolutely crazy that May is already over. We're headed into June, but we want to finish May strong. May has been an extremely profitable month. Regardless of the fact of which direction the market was going. When it was going down, we were hitting it. When it was going up, we were hitting it. We want to continue to hit it today. So I'm excited to absolutely get after it. I arranged the original stream here this morning. I scheduled it for using a streaming software. So I realized the issue when I was trying to go live and it was tapping into a software. I was like, what software? Should have been the webcam. So went ahead and created a new live stream. So we are back. Yes, good morning, Sharon. Good morning, Carla. Good morning, Vivian. Great to see you guys here, or at least see the little icons. I can only imagine, you're sitting there getting locked in, right? Doing your little Rocky Balboa moves, trying to get the blood pumping. I got no blood pumping this morning. I cannot lie. If I look exhausted, it's because I am exhausted. I had something last night that messed up my stomach, so I probably got like 4 hours of sleep. Unfortunately, got to sleep at like 2:30, then woke up, at like 6:30, and was just kind of trying to drink some ginger tea and get myself, in a headspace to live life this morning. So we're pushing through, though. We're pushing through. Excited about that. Already dropped some pre-market analysis in the Facebook group for my Facebook group subscribers. So make sure you head over there and check that out, because that is there, locked and loaded, ready to go. You have your game plan for this morning already, because there was no way I was getting out and hitting the road and running this morning after last night. Spent most of it tossing and turning. If anybody else in here has a sensitive stomach, then you know how that goes. But still looking to show up, still looking to execute, still looking to put our best foot forward. We had a great day yesterday. We weren't all 100%, right? It was a mixed bag, but we got the majority of the plays that paid. Amazon came out with a swift and beautiful 100% profit to start the day. Then we had Tesla coming in with 50% profit. We had SPY coming in to try and end the day, badly, ended on a red note, but then we went ahead and got it right back with SPY to make up for that one misplay on SPY. So 3 for 4 yesterday. A beautiful day trading. Friday, despite it being the day off, was an absolute fat payday. We had PA and W coming through. We had Apple coming through, right? We had a number of different swing trades coming through that made Friday a beautiful extreme payday, despite the fact that it was mostly an off day, right? So we've had a beautiful last few days to take us out of May, and I'm excited for what June has to offer. I hope everybody else who's here got a good night's sleep. But like I said, I'm here looking like, a Sith Lord, because I just didn't even feel like taking the hood off. I just need to feel like I'm still being smothered by pillows right now as I work my way out of, my just not good slumber. But let's go ahead and dive into the news for today. Not every day is going to be a good day. I wish I could get on here every day and say, hey, or not every morning is going to be a good morning and say, hey guys, I ran my 3 miles and I, got everything in. And I did my prayer and I did my journaling, right? But that is not the case every morning. That's not the case. And that was not the case this morning. That's okay. You could still, kind of kick yourself in the butt. And again, realize that you have the majority of the day ahead of you. That is the biggest thing. Don't just stop and say, oh man, I had a bad morning. This is going to be a bad day. You can push through and have an amazing day ahead of you. Even though I cannot lie, I will probably go grab my computer and hop right back in bed and work from bed. I call it WFB. So today might be a WFB day for me. But we're still getting things done, right? Still being constructive and productive. And that's the most important thing. So make sure you throw those ones in the chat, signifying your intention to get 1% better. Olivia, shout out to you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you showing up. Like I said, this is a symbiotic, relationship. We hold each other accountable. We keep each other pushing forward. Even when we're uncomfortable, we want the best for one another. And that's at least how I view this group, I want you to view it the exact same way, right? Someone who is a group of like-minded individuals that are always pushing you, that are always along with you for that ride, investing in yourself, right? They have the same exact goals. You're not alone. You have people that are trying to do the exact same thing, people that want those exact same things for you, right, as they want for themselves. You've got to use that to play to your advantage, right? To make sure that you fight a little bit harder, you push a little bit more, recognizing that you're not pushing alone. So, in terms of our top news today, common prosperity. As the world's two largest economies move increasingly farther apart, companies that fear of getting hurt by the fallout are making moves. Some are diversifying or relocating their business operations to friendlier regions, like Apple, right, who's moving a lot of their production to India, while others are doubling down on their lobbying efforts to make sure they are not harmed. Tesla is just one of the firms navigating the tricky waters, and the latest has even prompted Elon Musk's first visit to the country since a launch ceremony at Giga Shanghai in January 2020. That was when he was out there dancing, right? And that went viral. So, Thought Bubble, China represents Tesla's largest market outside the US, 22% of its revenue. So, that's significant, and is critical in terms of the EV maker supply chain, accounting for more than half of its global output. Things like export controls, data security, and restrictions on sensitive technologies can also impact the company's bottom line and in future market share. Now, Teslas were previously banned from Chinese military complexes and housing compounds in early 2021, and that was expanded in 2022. While a lot of assurances will have to be made with regard to the driving information that's collected by cameras built into its vehicles. So that's their beef, right? China is like, we don't want, a US based company filming all of our roads and infrastructure, taking in sensitive information, etc. So, quote, the interests of the United States and China are intertwined like conjoined twins who are inseparable from each other, Musk was quoted saying to Foreign Minister Qin Gang. He also met with China's commerce and industry ministers and dined with Zhang Yuquan. I don't know. Trying to do as best I can with these names. Chairman of top battery supplier CATL. Tesla shares rallied over 4% on Tuesday after Musk touched down in Beijing. We personally made 50% profit off of that, right? Beautiful profits from Tesla yesterday, taking advantage of the opportunity when it is presented. And that pushed the stock over the over $200 for the first time since March. But Tesla still faces stiff competition from Chinese rivals like BYD, as well as soaring rates on auto loans and an EV price war. Now, under pressure elsewhere, Tesla's strategy in China is critical for its success in the near term, but Musk has a lot on his plate between his work at SpaceX and recently acquired Twitter. In fact, Fidelity Investments, which helped to finance his $44 billion takeover of the social media platform, said Twitter is now worth just 1/3 of what Musk paid for it after marking down the value of its equity stake. France has also threatened to ban Twitter across the EU if it doesn't follow the incoming European Digital Services Act, which goes into effect at the end of August. So Musk is just a prime example of controlling what you can control. Not always will you make the best or most well-timed investment, right? But you cannot go back into the past and change that. So for anybody, who's struggling right now, who's saying, oh, I didn't make the best investment here or the best trade there, maybe yesterday you had a rough day, maybe, Friday you had a rough day or whatever, you just focus on controlling what you can control. You don't say, oh man, I had a bad day, I didn't follow my rules, and now, I knocked my account down by 20%, 30%. All you can focus on is doing the best that you can with what you have left, right? So that's what's important. I don't know who needed to hear that, but it's important to recognize that, it doesn't make you dumb. Elon Musk is one of the smartest people this earth has ever seen. And, he overpaid extremely for something that's now worth a third of what it was, right? So people make mistakes. It's not how you, get knocked down. It's how you get up. So just understand that you're not stupid, right? If you mess up a trade, you're not dumb, you're not incompetent. It's not something you will never get. This guy literally, makes a habit of rocket science, right? He's, again, one of the smartest human beings we've ever seen. And this dude still messes up, right? He still makes mistakes. So give yourself some grace, give yourself some lenience, and just worry about controlling what you can control, because that is the only thing that you should be thinking about, right? Unless you have cracked the code to time travel, you can't go back in time and change what already happened. So Yes, exactly. Borderline family with the way we want to look out for each other. Yes, sir. Exactly. Have to be resilient. Exactly. Right, Benjamin. Right on that exact same wave. This morning, got to be resilient. You got to be just willing to say, I'm not done yet. God is not done with me yet. Right. I have ways to push forward. I just have to figure them out. Right. So be committed to doing what you need to do in order to figure them out. Don't say, Adam, I've been trying to figure them out, but you're not showing up for the pre-market preps, right? Or you're not showing up for the Q&As, or you're, not asking for the recordings, or you're not charting what I chart, right? Or setting the alerts that I set. That's not trying, right? You've got to make sure that on that same token, right, when you're putting your best foot forward, that you're doing exactly that. You don't just say, oh man, I messed up, I'm going to try again. And then you barely try, right? Because at that point, you've got to recognize, yeah, there's something internally that you got to change in order to make that happen. But again, just because you fall down does not mean you have to stay down. Each day is a brand new opportunity, and there are plenty of ways to make that money right back. Right, that's what the beautiful thing about the market is. We've got some pretty nice setups across the board here. In the market this morning, which I talked about in the Facebook group as well. So, in terms of global news here, business ties joining the business executive tour in China. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon had his own comments to say about his relationship with the country as well as company policy going forward. Quote, we tend not to leave unless there is a war or a civil war, and we're not predicating any of that here. There's always going to be risk, he told Bloomberg at the bank's annual Global China Summit in Shanghai. Obviously, it's been a far more complex situation, and national security will trump all other issues. Over time, there will be less trade in China, but it'll take years for this thing to take place. This is not decoupling, this is de-risking. The world's changed a bit. Yeah, I'd say so. Everybody's kind of saying, "Hey guys, there's not going to be war, but if there is, this is what we do." And at the end of the day, at this point, everybody sees the writing on the wall of where we are with China, how badly that relationship has deteriorated, and how little alternatives it seems like we have at this point. So Jamie Dimon, right, just piggybacking off of what we were talking about earlier. With Tesla and all these other companies that are trying to navigate these tough waters of doing business in China. Now, in terms of legislation here to the House, Treasury yields continue to fall as the debt ceiling deal continues to advance on Capitol Hill, with a default nearly off the cards. The yield on the 10-year dropped 13 basis points on Tuesday to the end of the session at 3.69% and slipped another 4 basis points overnight to 3.65%. Legislation to lift the current $31.4 trillion debt limit into 2025 and cap federal spending cleared the House Rules Committee last night by a 7-6 margin, sending it to the full House for debate and an expected vote on passage on Wednesday. Quote, we are going to make sure that the votes are there, joining with our Republican colleagues to get this bill over the finish line, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries declared. It will also avoid the country being in this hostage-taking situation for the rest of this Congress. So, we're just pushing closer and closer to a deal, right? Trying to get a deal, trying to get a deal, trying to get a deal. Again, historically, when a deal is made, the market sells. So that's not a guarantee that it will sell. I'm just telling you what has happened historically. It's important to know that information because it can end up making you money. What did I say last week about holiday weeks? Said how holiday weeks end up finishing green for the most part, right? That's exactly what we got last week. We pushed on Friday and pushed big across all indexes. So if you saw us down, right, heading into Friday, you're like, hey, you know what? I see the fact that we have, the possibility for these bullish setups and that we tend to finish green on holiday weeks. I'm going to make sure, that I factor that into my plans. And if you did that, right, the weekends going into holidays, we typically end up green. If you paid attention to that, it paid. So the same exact thing here when we talk about this debt limit deal being passed, it's like, okay, what has typically happened in the past? I get what we think is likely to happen, but we live in a world where what is likely to happen rarely happens anymore, right? Or what makes sense rarely happens anymore. So we want to make sure that, okay, what has happened? And let's factor that into our expectations. In terms of tech, danger, or hype, quote, mitigating the risk of extinction from AI should be a global priority alongside other societal scale risks such as pandemics and nuclear war. The sentence was featured in a new letter published by the Center for AI Safety, which was signed by OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, as well as executives from Microsoft, Google, and several other companies and universities. OpenAI has received billions in funding from Microsoft, which has integrated the popular ChatGPT into many of its products and services. Earlier this month, a poll conducted by Reuters/Ipsos found that nearly two-thirds of Americans thinks AI poses a risk to humanity. Yeah, I'm definitely part of that. Doesn't mean I won't use it, but I'm definitely part of that, right? I mean, that's been up in the top 10 kind of doomsday threats for a while, and that just became a whole lot realer in the past year. So in March, Elon Musk and Steve Wozniak also wrote a letter that called for a 6-month pause in the development of many AI tools to develop new safety standards for the technology. Looks like a slow news morning because I feel like that wasn't really headline worthy, right? I feel like that's kind of regulation around AI has been a consistent motif, a consistent, ongoing theme, but feel like must be slow news morning. In terms of today's markets, red across the board. No surprise there. In Asia, Japan were down 1.4%, Hong Kong were down 1.9%, China down 0.6%, India down 0.5%. Footy in London down 0.1%, Paris down 0.5%, Frankfurt down 0.3%, Dow down 0.2%, S&P down 0.3%, Nasdaq down 0.1%, crude oil down 2.8%, gold down 0.1%, Bitcoin down 3.2% to 27K. What do we get this morning? Chicago PMI is on today's economic calendar. Not really anything super important. It's looking like right now. I think we said Thursday and Friday, right? Thursday and Friday were really the big days for data. So I don't think we have any important data that dropped this morning, but let me check just in case. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, not seeing any big data right now. In terms of us being red this morning, that's no surprise. Puts were called out yesterday before close. Given yesterday's price action, we also had looking at the charts, we had that $1 million candlestick on Apple, right? We had that shooting star candlestick on Apple. We also had the shooting star candlestick on Nvidia. Now, those are two very, very large companies that make up a large weight in these indexes, right? So if Apple and Nvidia both head lower today, what is the broader market likely to do? Head lower, right? And we've got this potential hourly bear flag on SPY that I also made a Loom video about and posted in the group. So, we've got this potential hourly pattern that's firing on SPY here this morning. We already swung SPY puts into today, right? So this is exactly what we were anticipating. These puts, will be nice and green here this morning, but a red day, at least for a bit of the day, is definitely to be expected given the price action that we got on the daily. I suspect that we can fall down to the 414.73/416 area. So 416 to 414.73. I feel like we fall somewhere in there. Roughly 416 is price target number 2 of this hourly bear flag. As we open up on SPY here this morning, we open up downtrending, firing this bear flag potentially here. We want to look to enter puts as long as we remain beneath 418.74 on the hourly, right? So really at open, looking at puts if you're not in puts already. And then riding those down to 416, right? The first price target is going to be 417.57. Second price target is going to be roughly 416, right? But ultimately, we can bounce at that 416 area or 414.73. We could have room down until 414.73. But that area, right? Look out for any type of hourly bullish reversal candle. That is going to be our bounce area where we can look to enter calls. So that's really where you're going to be looking at on SPY, both SPY and QQQ, both with the hourly bear flag. So right now, that's the game plan going into this morning, right? It's going to be expecting downside first, expecting upside after that. Will we get the upside today? Depends on how fast we fall, right? But if we fall down and we end up closing on top of that 414.73, then we could end up getting that bounce tomorrow. But just make sure you're aware, make sure you're vigilant, make sure you're ready to execute, right? And I'm excited to go ahead and do what else, right? Do what we do every day, try and get this bag. Now, what else is happening? Nvidia reaches $1 trillion milestone, but pairs gain shortly thereafter. Kind of tired of hearing that name, because it's legit all you see. At least me, based on my social media feed. Like, and I love it. It paid very nicely, but like, man, I'm over it. I'm over hearing all the same words day after day after day. Meet the healthcare spinoff set to join the NASDAQ 100 index. Berkshire, ticker BRK.B, raises stake in Occidental Petroleum to roughly 25%. So Warren Buffett's still buying the heck out of Occidental Petroleum. Um, still bullish on energy. So we'll see, right, what Warren has up his sleeve. I've got, some reels coming out that I just uh, re- recorded. Sorry about that. If you're popping in late, I got like 4 hours of sleep, so we're running on fumes here. But got some uh, reels around like seasonality coming out and some touching on the energy sector coming out. So be on the lookout for those roughly next week. Fresh tensions: spy satellite launched by North Korea ends in failure. Sorry, Kim Jong Un. Rates have entered restrictive territory. That's according to Richmond Fed's Tom Barkin. Then Icon Enterprises, ticker IEP, looked at asset swaps fundraising before short call. Glencore preparing for next bid for Tech Resources, ticker TECK. And then new supply: Chile sees lithium swinging into surplus by 2025. U.S. crude slides below $70. Natural gas plunges on record output. And then Goldman Sachs poised to trim more staff ahead of deal making drought. So that's good news for GS, which, as we talked about last week, has a good long-term outlook, right? Good long-term outlook on GS. Let me see. What else was I about to mention? Oh, it's all right. We only got 25 minutes till open, so let's go ahead and we can wrap it up there, right? We finished up with our rapid fire bullet point rundown. But like I said, we have analysis posted in a Loom video over there in the Facebook group. Make sure you go over there, get prepared for the opportunities that we can take advantage of this morning. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You got to make sure that you're in the headspace, right? You're in the mindset to execute when it's time to execute. Be prepared to do what you need to do. Again, no guarantee that we head lower. We deal in a world of probabilities, but overall, when you have two of the largest market cap companies both putting in daily bearish chart, candlestick patterns, and you have the fact that we had already had a bearish day yesterday, and we have a bearish chart pattern heading into today, this morning, right? The writing is on the wall of what is most probable. Again, it's not guaranteed, just most probable. But make sure you're ready to act in that vein. So we're already going to be opening up green today because our puts are going to have paid us very nicely by the time we hit open. But even if you aren't in them, right, you can still look to enter them, as we hit open. So class Delta, right, go ahead and execute. Other than that, guys, I'm going to try and maybe get some caffeine in me, to be honest, maybe WFB, work from bed. And just push through today. Today's gonna be a great day. I received that. I hope you guys receive that as well. Make sure you say that out loud, speak it into this wonderful, beautiful environment, so that you can bless yourself and bless yourself with intention. Other than that, guys, have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you back here tomorrow morning for our next pre-market prep session. Have a good one.